Hollow Knight. I beat it, you beat it, and if you haven't, this video is not for you, as it will contain spoilers. I got 3 different endings, almost all of the achievements, so now I will do something that has never been done before. I will rank all 46 Hollow Knight bosses. Wow, what a cool and original idea. Now, let me explain the criteria for how I will rank if the boss tickled my fancy or not. There are 3 things that I considered when ranking. First, the flow of the fight. Second, the design of the bosses and soundtrack. And lastly, how memorable the encounter was. We're starting off with Gruz Mother, the first boss I encountered in my playthrough, so even though the attacks of this boss are super simple, so are my abilities since I didn't get any upgrade. Besides hovering around, it has 2 attacks which are not too difficult to avoid. And can anybody please tell me if this is a mom releasing its babies or group of gatherers wearing a costume? Gruz Mother gets a solid C. My second encounter in the game was False Knight, which I recently learned you can skip by breaking this wall and leaving False Knight alive. That would have probably make this encounter a bit less awkward. You look so dumb. Can I use the dream now? Wake up, brother, help me. Ooh. Other than that, the fight is quite straightforward and it earns a B. Failed Champion took me by surprise by how fast he was compared to False Knight, but if you equip Fragile Strength, you can stagger him quite easily and just dash underneath when he goes for the big swing. And no, Fragile Strength won't break in the dream state, so don't worry about having to repair it. It's more fun than False Knight, so he gets an A. Up next is Hornet, and she's the first boss that I actually had to learn the attack patterns instead of just smashing buttons.
Hello everybody, Toastmom here. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to button mash really fast.
You see, I thought that her shouts correspond to different attacks, but no, they're random. Fun fight though. It's hard to get the feel for the hitbox on her horns. That gets her a confident A. We actually meet Hornet again later on in the game, but this time she attacks faster and uses spike attack. Even though the fight is a bit more intense, once you learn how to deal with the spikes, it's not that difficult. It's a step up from the base Hornet, so it's only fair to give her an S. Going back to Forgotten Crossroads, we find Vengefly King. Very basic fight unless you do not know you can down slash. After the fight, we save Zote, which is the most memorable thing about this fight.
Are you serious? What an asshole.
Well, maybe I should have just let him there hanging. Vengefly gets a C. Nigtmare King Grimm. Oh my god. From the intro that looks like it was taken from new Quentin Tarantino's movie.
Everybody be cool, this is a robbery!
To the soundtrack that just makes your blood pump faster. It definitely was worth doing all the side quests just to unlock it. For defeating him, you get your last upgrade to your Grimm Child Charm, but it's still useless. Let's see you do something now. Let's see. And now he's stuck. There it is. Attack it. It's right there. It doesn't do anything. This fight definitely deserves an S. Having reviewed Nightmare King Grimm and going back to Grimm, it's hard to give Grimm an S as well, since NKG has moved the bar so high. Even though I enjoyed the fight, it just feels a bit slow now, so I am forced to give it an A. The Collector at first was very cool with his twisted soundtrack, but after a while his laugh got quite annoying. Let's go. Why is he laughing for so long? I got the last laugh. It was nice of him to also keep my shadow in jar for me to pick him up before the next fight. He captured my shadow. That's kind of cool. That's actually quite convenient. The best part about Collector is that after you beat him, you unlock a map that shows you the location of all grubs. Collector gets a B tier. Brothers Oro and Mato, that were your nail arts teachers, team up at the end of the first Pantheon. I believe this is the only boss battle that has multiple bosses that have unique attack. Obblobes, Watcher Knights, and Mantis Lords are just copies of each other, and in the God Tamer fight, only the beast is the actual boss. Brothers get an A tier. I like the idea of Paintmaster Sheo using paintbrush and paint as weapon. Very colorful fight with the arena getting covered with paint the more we fight. Definitely way easier than his older brothers. His health is low and besides the stab attack, they're not too difficult to avoid. I defeated him on my first attempt. B tier. Great Nailmaster Sly, a teacher of the 3 brothers that we just talked about, is the fastest boss in the whole game during his 3rd phase. It's cool that you finally get the taste of what it's like for other bosses to fight the knight when he spams nail art.
You dare use my own spells against me? harder.
This fight forces you to not be greedy, just get one hit in and back away. And for that, it gets an S tier. There were two things that were satisfying in God Tamer fight, which awaits us as the last enemy in the Trial of the Warrior. The fact that the beast has a blind spot when you can pogo on it, and when you realize that the beast will land where your last location was after turning into Armadillo. Just be wary of the Tamer after you get rid of the beast, as this sucker will try to get one more hit in before the fight is over. To be honest, the parts of the Trial of the Warrior without the floor were harder than this boss. A tier. Hive Knight, which can be found in, you guessed it, the Hive, has 3 moves: Teleport Slash, Release the Beast, and Exploding Spikes. I found it after I got most of the upgrades, so it wasn't that difficult with the right setup. It goes down very fast. And once again, watch out for the beast because they can hit you even after the night goes down. C tier. Mantis Lords fight feels so good. It's like a dance. You constantly have to keep moving. There's almost no downtime. It feels great when you finally defeat them. After the fight, you get recognized as one of the goats, so the whole Mantis village starts putting respect on your name. Well, besides the traitor Mantises. Small tip, if you didn't know, there's a hidden section in the top left of this arena that allows you to get some more masks before the fight. It definitely deserves an S. Radiance was honestly not that difficult. I struggled more on Watcher Knights, to be honest. But all the different elements of the fight with the spears constantly blocking off sections of the platforms together with a light beam and nails just going from all sides keeps you on your toes. And when you finally get to the third stage, the ascent with a new ending that you unlock is very cinematic. All that grants an S for this fight. Soulmaster has one of the goofiest screams in the whole game, but it does catch you off guard with his second phase. What is this? What? What was that scream at the end? Whoa, wait, what? No, wait. I like the whole ambience of Soul Sanctum with the soundtrack and level design, which kinda reminds me of Dark Souls. A tier. Soul Tyrant is the upgraded version of Soul Master. He can be fought after unlocking the Dream Nail and is not that much more difficult. It's a matter of patience more than anything, because this guy is fast, teleports when you get close, and you end up running around the whole arena trying to catch him. And it also lost the element of surprise. B tier. Dung Defender is the second funniest fight I had in Hollow Knight. English is not my first language, but I do know what dung is. And the idea of a bug hurling dung at me while being so high-spirited with his intro and exclamations throughout the fight just brings a smile to my face. He's just happy he got to throw some dung today. S tier. White Defender, just like his base version, is fun, but this time the repertoire of his attacks grew, with the slam attack and using more balls, making the fight's pace faster. He also got a new shiny armor, or just finally cleaned his old one. Still an S. Massive Moss Charger. I mean, just stand in front of it and time your attacks right, and the fight is over faster than you can say, Team Cherry, please release Silksong already. I would have forgot about this boss if it did not show up in Pantheons. So this is my first F tier. Brooding Mawlek. There is something very satisfying when dodging basically a wall of acid and finding a rhythm to this fight. I've probably also have gotten the most parries I have in this game during this fight. The only thing that trips me up is this raised platform in the middle of the arena. A tier. When I first encountered Crystal Guardian, I got spooked because he was sitting on a bench I wanted to heal at. I guess this is the only memorable thing about it. I don't think that the Guardian had any lore implications, he was just chilling there. D tier. Enraged Guardian is just straight up F tier. The only thing we have to do to defeat him is stand in front of him, jump over the laser and attack when it's not shooting. Follow him if he jumps to the other side, rinse and repeat. It really feels like he's just a placeholder. Fight is super easy. I had to look up Broken Vessel's lore, but now I do know that he was just like the Knight, but he couldn't fight off the infection. He does have quite a big variety of attack, however the best thing about it is that you finally get the Monarch Wings for defeating him. You get the double jump, which is obviously super useful, not only for fighting and platforming, but also unlocking new areas. For that, I'll give him an A. Lostkin is an interesting case, because on one hand, he is more difficult, especially with those jumps, which for some reason can predict my moves. But then he was stripped from an attack that Broken Vessel had, the Outbreak. It would have been deadly in the upgraded version. So with that said, Lostkin will get the same rank as Broken Vessel, A tier. Hollow Knight is the most emotional fight, to be honest. At the last stage, I finally realized what was happening and that he is actually trying to suppress the sickness and help me in containing it.
Or fourth phase. Whoa. That's kind of sad. He was kind of limping there. Did I win? Wait. Did I just sacrifice myself?
The fight itself took me a few tries to beat, but the lore and the cinematic ending definitely makes it an S. Pure Vessel had to be the hardest boss I fought. I came into this fight thinking it's going to be similar to the Hollow Knight, but maybe with double damage and faster moveset. But no, the pillars for some reason are super thick, so there's only a small safe zone in which you can stay, and his nail range is crazy long. He comes at you fast and he comes at you hard by dealing 2 damage. All 3 stages of the fight are intense and it's extremely rewarding to finally get it right. Pure Vessel definitely deserves an S. I don't consider Soul Warrior a boss since he literally showed up in the Trial of the Fool together with other enemies like he was one of them. I don't think any other boss has done this, and it wasn't much of a challenge. Just do a sidestep when he teleports above you and smack him a few times. Some speedrunners also use a Flukemarm in the corner and force him there where he lasts like 3 seconds. A B should suffice. Obblobes are 2 bosses that are bigger versions of an Obble. Once you kill one, the other one gets super pissed and just starts shooting acid or whatever that is a bit faster. You encounter them in Colosseum of Fools. They don't really add to the lore of the game much and they're quite easy to beat unless you fight them on Radiance, so I'm giving them a C. Grey Prince Zote has got to be the funniest secret boss in the game. Throughout the whole playthrough, Zote is a harmless asshole that is mad that you keep saving him from different monsters, but when you save him for the last time in the Colosseum of Fools, he goes back to Dirtmouth and steals your girlfriend. That's when you can find Grey Prince Zote in the basement of Bretta's house.
Bretta? Terrifying, beautiful, powerful Grey Prince Zote. what is that?
The fight itself felt very chaotic, with Zote sometimes tripping over and spitting tiny versions of himself, and even adjusting himself mid-air. It really does take a while to find the rhythm to this fight, but as much as I dislike Zote, got to give Prince Zote an S.
Turns out that 3 Mantis Lords sisters have a brother that joined the dark side. Traitor Lord looks like he might have been on some gear by how much bigger he is compared to his sisters. To fight him, there was a requirement to get a new skill, Shade Cloak, which allows you to dash through enemies without getting damage. Using this new ability during a fight proved a bit tricky. Now that I've practiced him in Godhome, I find it quite easy, but back then I died to him more than I'd like to admit. Pacing yourself is important in this fight. Also, if you saved Cloth from the ancient basin, he comes during this fight to help out. Unfortunately, I did not know that Cloth needed saving, so he wasn't there to help me out. Buff Mantis sibling gets an A. Uummuu has 2 different versions. The first Uummuu fight is the one with the assist of Quirrell, who is a friendly NPC that previously served as a Mon-Mon's assistant in the archives and was entrusted with her mask, which granted him a longer life. However, he helps the knight break Mon-Mon's seal by taking it off, which basically means that he sacrificed himself, and we see him one last time chilling by the lake. And the next time we come by, he is gone.
That looks crazy though. Where's Quill?
Quirrell makes this fight way easier because he staggers the boss and we just have to survive in the meantime and only attack once Uummuu is deflated. In the other version where Quirrell is not there to help us, we have to break these jellyfishes that explode on contact. It's actually quite hard to be consistent with it. It's probably a case of get good, but I found it quite annoying. RIP to Quirrell, but Uummuu gets a D. When you approach the arena of Flukemarm, it makes weird slurping sounds. I'm not sure what it is supposed to resemble, but it is a bit gross. It only attacks by spitting small bugs that swim around. I might have had my nail upgraded a bit too much because what I did on my first attempt is just pogo on it and the small bugs died within 2 hits. I would have given it an F, but it was funny to beat it on my first attempt, and you do get Flukeness Charm, which can be useful in some scenarios. You can also pair it with the Defender's Crest to make this. Flukemarm gets a C. The whole concept of getting lured in by Nosk was very cool. Thinking that I'll get to meet a friendly NPC, I followed it and found this creepy boss fight. I felt like one of those animals that get lured in by predators that pretend they're something else. When it comes to the boss fight, it was fast, but I quickly found the cheese by hiding in underneath the platform so Nosk wouldn't step on me. I had to move when it spits acid from the ceiling and switch sides when it walked over me. I haven't learned the normal way to fight it, and that's how I also fought it in the Pantheon. I think A is good tier for Nosk. Watcher Knights, or as I like to call them, the Beyblade boss, were very difficult for me at first. You start fighting only with one of them, but after you defeat the first one, they start waking up in pairs. I didn't have Shade Cloak at the time and I just could not position myself during this fight, which resulted in me getting cornered by 2 Watcher Knights coming at me at the same time. After chat told me to stay in the middle of the arena, I started playing like an actual thinking human being. Also, if you do not know, you can drop a chandelier from the outside of the arena, making this fight a bit shorter. Beyblade boss also gets an A. We're now moving on to the Dream Warriors, which are lingering memories of particularly strong bugs.
the list opens up Elder Hu, who wasn't particularly strong, and maybe because I already had obtained Shade Cloak by the time I first encountered him, which made the whole fight super easy.
I did not have to think about dodging those gold pillars thanks to the invincibility frames. According to the lore, Elder Hu attacked the Mantis tribes, and that's not cool. I'm buddies with them.
D tier. Galien just feels good to defeat, following him around the arena while slashing up and dodging his scythes. Quick slash charm does wonders in this fight. The longer the fight is, the harder it gets to dodge these projectiles, so just go all in.
Galien claimed to be the strongest in the Hollow Nest, but luckily he flies around just low enough for us to be able to hit him with our nail. If he only had sent his scythes out and sit back and relax from far, he would have been a menace.
I've heard that he is quite difficult on Radiant, A tier. Gorb was the first Dream Warrior which I have defeated. I stumbled upon his grave by accident before I even knew what Dream Warriors were. Did not make a big impression on me. The fight was quite easy, with him just having one attack that just gets a little bit harder each time.
D tier.
Markoth. I know everybody's whining on Radiant Markoth being ridiculously difficult, but let me tell you something, it's optional. You don't actually have to fight him at all, let alone on Radiant difficulty. That aside, he's basically better version of Xero, with all the difference being that Xero's nails retract and Markoth just shoot off into the distance, and Markoth's shield that he uses both for defense and offense. Markoth gets a B and Xero a low C. Marmu is just cute. It's like you're playing volleyball on a beach. Use Mark of Pride with Quick Slash, do not jump and just bounce him around. Some people in chat were saying that he's annoying, but I don't think so.
I learned that Marmu is an actual bug in real life. There's a conspiracy theory that Marmu is a relative of the Radiant.
Marmu gets a B. No Eyes once was a warrior of Hollowness who ultimately succumbed to the infection. Haunted by the fear that dreams would corrupt her mind with the light, she removed eyes of others and eventually her own, in a final attempt to protect herself and those around her. So I kind of felt like I was bullying an elderly disabled person, but that went away when I was trying to dodge those flying heads while chasing her around the arena. They just move so weird.
Damn it. There we go. I'm sorry.
No Eyes gets C. Now I do need to confess something. I haven't completed 5th Pantheons.
My ranking of these next
bosses will be based off of my experience with them in their base version and what I saw online. Sisters of Battle is a dream version of Mantis Lords, with the difference that at the end you fight all 3 of them at the same time. It's a great upgrade, especially since by the time you get to Sisters, you unlock more spells and abilities, so the Mantis Lords, they don't hit the same way they did when you first fought. All 3 of the Mantis Lords fight you at the same time, just takes it up a notch, so they definitely get an S as well.
Winged Nosk is more of a Vengefly King upgrade than Nosk. Now it mimics Hornet instead of the Knight. It has wings and does the same swoop attack. Also, it summons these orange goobers just like Vengefly King summons its minions. The 2 similarities with Nosk is that they're both creepy skinwalkers and they both fit acid. I will place it in the middle of these 2 with a B. Absolute Radiance is the last boss of Pantheon 5, and defeating it leads to an Embrace Void ending, which, to be honest, I don't get how that works, since I thought that whatever happens in Godhome stays in Godhome. And the difference from the normal Radiance is that it has an additional stage at the end. I hate these homing orbs, but there's a cool trick to get rid of them easily. If you pogo on Radiance and the orbs fly off the screen, they will disappear. Absolute Radiance gets an absolute S. Lastly, I don't know who put regular Zote here, but he obviously gets an F. And with that said, this is my final tier list of all the Hollow Knight bosses. Let me know if you disagree with any of my rankings in the comments.